Welcome to the Recruitment Rollercoaster podcast. My name is Hisham Aziz. Sam, you can't just sit there laughing at me, mate. I'm joined by Sam Oakes. I'm in Bristol. Sam is one of the founders of Recruit UK. And we're going to have a good chat around your journey, Sam Oakes. You looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, as we were just saying, where I always like to start, Sam, is how you got into recruitment. Because I think, obviously, from what I can see online and your LinkedIn and stuff, it seems like you haven't been on the typical recruitment journey. So, how did you enter the world of recruitment?
So I got into recruitment through. I was 27 years old when I first got into recruitment. So a lot older than I think most people tend to. I think most people tend to go down the graduate route, enter recruitment around about 21. But I was 27, and I was working for a financial services company. So Aviva, and
Aviva, you said,
Aviva, yeah. Cool. So I was working for Aviva on part of a joint venture with the Royal Bank of Scotland.
Okay,
and I was there for about nearly 5 years. And when I was there, I was working as a customer service consultant, talking to financial advisors and customers of the bank about their pensions, investments, protection products. And from there, I moved in like a team leader role and then became a trainer. So I was a financial services trainer. So I was training out the financial products to newbies that were coming into the company.
Yeah, because obviously they would sell products that you obviously...
Not the guys on the phones that I was talking to. They were more customer service.
But the actual people out in the market would be selling products that you guys backed. Aviva would back.
Yeah. So the joint venture was, Aviva sold their products through the Royal Bank of Scotland.
Yeah.
So financial advisors would sell Aviva products.
Aviva products. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So pensions, investments, and protection, all that kind of stuff. So my job was to really make that interesting for somebody who was like 18, 19, 20 years old without any experience or understanding of what, certain legislations around pension transfers, A-Day, and all these different changes and bonds and how the FTSE worked and all that kind of stuff. So I had a really good understanding of financial services.
Sure.
And it was really quite interesting. I really liked it. It was creative. So I used to have to create training programs. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So I was doing all of that really. But it didn't really fulfill me. So
that's interesting.
Whilst I was in that role, you only ever are as good as you only earn as much as the machine lets you. So I couldn't earn the 40s, 50s, 60Ks that I wanted to earn, that all my friends were earning at the age of 27. So a lot of my friends were starting to earn some really good money, but I felt quite restricted with it. So I felt quite sort of limited into what I could actually
hit
do.
The glass ceiling, as we all hear in recruitment by candidates.
Yeah, and it was just very big business. And I think my mindset and who I am as a person, and I was quite creative, and I always wanted to try to change the way the training programs were put across. But if you understand working in financial services, you've got lots of people telling you can't say certain things all the time. So there's loads of red tape, so you get really kind of like downtrodden a little bit and frustrated. So at that point it was like, right, well, I don't really want to do this anymore. So I was out having a beer actually, and with a friend of mine, and I was whinging and moaning over the table that I wanted to work, that I was fed up of not earning enough money, and blah, 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 and that I would like to get into recruitment. And
whoa, where'd that come from?
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Well,
why recruitment? There
was always something in the back of my mind that said working recruitment.
Really?
Yeah. So
did you have friends in recruitment?
No, actually.
Where the hell was that coming from?
Well, Bristol's full of recruitment companies.
Really?
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to kind of go backwards, because when I was younger, I always did sales roles.
Okay.
So
because I saw you as an insurance sales.
Yeah.
That's where I started my sales career, really.
Yeah, so I was at Cornhill Direct selling insurance for a few years, outbound selling insurance, like house and
I did the same.
Contents and all that kind of stuff, which was a hard old slog. And before that, I did some awful bloody sales jobs. I sold windows to people over the telephone when I was like 16, 17 years old. I knocked on people's doors.
Did you?
Doing door-to-door sales for like 2.5 years. So I really cut
2.5 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years. I built like a little team up. It's like pyramid selling, basically.
Mate, so it's really interesting to say this. So as I was just saying, I did obviously also done a podcast with Jack Cole from Method, and he did door-to-door sales for 18 months, and we're like, that's a long old time, because you typically it's like 2 months, 3 months.
It's commission
for 2.5 years.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 years.
That is
Yeah.
Fair play.
And interestingly enough, actually, the types of people that I've bumped into since then have all gone on to run their own businesses. And all,
Really?
yeah,
That's really interesting.
My mate runs he's a personal trainer. Another one of my mates owned a recruitment company, and then that went under actually. We won't talk about that one. He flips houses and stuff like that now. So everyone's kind of who did it tended to go on to do something.
Okay, that's fair enough. Then. So so I guess where that came from when I asked that question was, well, hang on, actually, I've had a ton of experience doing sales. I've ended up in this training role. So then, literally at that point, you started Recruit UK.
No.
Okay.
So at that point, when I was leaning over the table, the person who was on the other side of the table was Stuart.
Stuart, okay.
And he passed over a business card. He said, well, if you want to come and work in recruitment, why don't you come and see me on Monday? Yeah. I own a recruitment company and we'll have a chat. Okay. Now, that recruitment company on his business card was a company called Viridian.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Viridian were a recruitment agency that had appointed representatives working for them across the UK. So self-employed recruitment consultants would plug into Viridian. And Viridian had all these contracts with all the major banks. Yeah. So they would just farm out all their vacancies to all these self-employed guys and take a 30% split on everything that these guys were doing. Now, Stuart was originally employed by Viridian, but then had to set up as a self-employed AR of them downstairs. So when I came along and joined, Recruit UK was just a name on a piece of paper. Okay. So it was just a name on a piece of paper, a limited company called Recruit UK, but they took all the branding of Viridian and used their branding and their name and everything, and only really just filled the roles that Viridian generated, because they had loads of financial advisor positions at the banks, loads of mortgage advisor positions, customer advisors, all that kind of stuff. So you had loads of vacancies. You didn't need to go out. So it was a kind of beautiful little setup, really. You would do is go out and candidate generate and give away 30% of what it is you wrote.
Okay, so just to be clear then, so it's... I'm not sure how that... No, I'm not. Well, I just want to make sure I fully understand that. Yeah. So when you was moaning about you want to get into recruitment or not obviously enjoying your job, that was Stuart. Yeah. Stuart handed you a business card. Yeah. Right? And then obviously you came in on Monday, met Stuart, and then you just said the original setup was that obviously these banks had loads of vacancies. They farmed them out to Viridian. Yeah. Viridian then had people like Stuart and other people
all across the UK.
All across the UK that could obviously fill these jobs. Yeah. Just explain the recruit. So then, where does Recruit UK fit into this? Like, where did that
Recruit
come
UK
from?
was an appointed representative of Viridian.
Okay, and that was Stuart.
And another guy called Lee. So there was two of them who'd set it up.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of people that they started to employ within their little branch, if you like.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then started.
So they started to actually expand their own, obviously AR. Obviously, I'm familiar with that in insurance as well, because that's a similar setup. Okay, so obviously, and how long was Stuart doing that for then? Was you obviously quite early on, because obviously you and Stuart now own...
Yeah, so Stuart was doing that for about it must have been about a year before I joined, but he was working in recruitment before that as well, so he used to work for another company doing like construction recruitment on a temporary basis, which sounded horrific. He did that, but...
and then now, how long has Recruit UK been going for?
About 11 and a half years. I've been doing it for about 11 and a half years. So maybe about 12 and a half years, something like that.
So then just give me the sort of logistics then. Because you're now 50-50 partners, right?
Yeah.
And was that a journey to get to that point then, I'm assuming? Like, how did that happen then? Was that straight off the bat? That's what I'm just trying to understand.
Off the bat at all. No. Yeah. So when I came into Viridian, we were working on. I came in to work on an RBS account, and that account had a load of vacancies on it. Yeah. And right at that point, I joined was the credit crunch.
Oh wow!
So all the banks started closing up and clamming up and saying that we're not giving any more vacancies out. So Stuart went white basically. He just he just employed me and sort of thinking, oh shit, what we're going to get him to do now?
Yeah.
But anyway, I came in and I just sort of picked up I knew that recruitment was going to be tough, and I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew that I had to make a load of outbound calls and all of that. And back on my history of working in smashing the telephones, trying to sell people Windows, I just got on the phone and started speaking to people. But we generated one client when we weren't generating a lot of vacancies off the back of Viridian. Yeah. And that was a big building society, and I ended up doing a load of business in my first year through this one building society.
Really?
They literally gave me one vacancy. It was a part-time role up in like North London, and I just worked the nuts off of it for like a fee of about £2,000. Yeah. But I really cut my teeth on that, and I really started to understand the structure of what you need to do in recruitment to be able to find really good candidates and the client relationship and all of that kind of stuff. So as I started doing that and I started getting really good at it, the credit crunch was starting to fade out a little bit, and we started getting more and more vacancies through the banks. And I started doing a lot of work then through RBS and making lots of placements. And in my second year, I did about 150 grand.
Yeah.
But there still wasn't enough vacancies out there along those lines. So I ended up, so at the time though, the business wasn't really making lots and lots of money. We didn't have loads of people employed, and there were some okay recruiters in there.
Yeah.
The Stuart ended up getting 100% of the business by the other chap leaving.
Yeah.
And it got to a situation where I think I was probably bidding the most on the board, so he was paying me the most. So it was a bit like, well, we better make him a 50% shareholder in the business.
Okay.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was
really
fighting. I wasn't fighting for it, because at the time I was a recruitment consultant, and I was just a couple of years in, and I was just making some.
And that was 11 years ago.
About it must have been about 2 or 3 years whilst I got into it. Yeah, about 3 years, maybe 2.5. I'm not very good with dates. You have to.
That's all right.
Yeah, about 2.5, 3 years.
But you've been a 50% shareholder for
about
roughly
7 years now. Yeah.
That's really interesting then.
I kind of fell into it. I kind of it was an opportunity that came up to me and said, "Do you want to be a director within this business?" And I said, "Yeah." And
because have you ever wanted your own business?
no, there's always something in the back of my mind that wanted to have my own business. I'm quite sort of that way inclined anyway. I always had in my head that I was going to achieve something, that I was going to own something. I am somebody that I quite like control, so I always thought I was going to have something that it was going to be mine.
Like your pyramid scheme, your pyramid business.
yeah. Door knocking pyramid. Some funny stories in that game.
Okay, so that's really interesting then. So why don't we break that down a bit then? So I guess I said the first thing what I always like to sort of just touch on before we go into the sort of last 7-8 years of you, being a real 50% shareholder of this business. So you were talking a bit about it there, but so first 12 months in recruitment, what were they like?
First 12 months.
Yeah, what they're like. So this was literally as a recession hit, or was it just after? Or
I think you have a perception, don't you, of recruitment before you get into it, of what you think it is, and then the reality of it is completely different. So you think, I'm going to have all these vacancies, and all these people are going to walk through my door, and I'm just going to sit down with them and chat with them and find them a job, and it's going to be nice and easy. You don't realise just how tough and hard it actually is, and how competitive it is, and how you go out and source those candidates, and what the candidate experience is, and what their thoughts are of actually a recruitment consultant. So my first year was tough. Yeah, like I think the first year for anybody getting into recruitment is tough. You have to it's blood, sweat and tears. And I would often sort of take myself out to the toilet and sit in the toilet and be sitting there shaking, thinking like, what am I doing this for? This is horrible. Like,
why didn't you quit?
Because I don't quit. I'm not a quitter. So, and also as well, I observed within that first 12 months, there was a chap in there called Tom Ponting, right? And he ended up going to Opus, and he became a director there, and he's got his own little business now, actually. He's a good guy, bloody good recruitment consultant. And all I did was just watch him.
Really?
Because it was quite a small little office. All I did was look at him and think, what's he doing?
Was he the top biller?
Yeah, he was like top biller when I joined. So I just observed him, and he wasn't doing anything extraordinary. He wasn't some sort of boffin, and he was just doing a job very really simple. So I would just look at him and watch what he was doing and emulate what he was doing and copy what he was doing. And that was pretty much how I then got through that. Really, is just like look at the person who's making money, copy them, and make it better. And that was what I
Is that your advice to people that join your business now? As part of it?
Part of it, yeah.
Obviously there's more to it than that, but
I always say to somebody, like, anybody who joins our business now is just like, listen, use your ears, listen to people within the office, listen to what they're doing, what are they doing well and what they're doing badly. Take a look at the people that are at the bottom of the table. What are they doing? What they're not doing. Don't look at the person who's doing really, really, really well. And also at the same time, don't be disheartened if you're not performing to the level of, say, a top biller.
Yeah.
Because, it's taken them a long time to get there. It's tough.
It's a long game, isn't it?
It's a long game, yeah.
And then just on that point now, because it's come up quite a lot now, how did you naturally ask for help? Was you someone that naturally would go over to him and go, what you just did there, like, I'm struggling a bit with that. Do you know how you approach that BD call? It'd be great if you could talk to me a bit about why you did that or whatever.
Yeah,
did you do that?
If I look back, I did. Yeah. All of my training was like on the job. So it was like, here's a job advert. Here's a job. I want you to write a job advert. So you just do it and you just get on with it and do it on the job. There was no structured training for me, so I had to listen. I had to pick up, and I had to. I didn't sit next to somebody listening. I think I did it for like a day or something like that. No, I just always I'm is it experiential learner? You know, the one when you act an activist basically.
Yeah.
So I have to do the job to be able to learn.
I just think that's such sound advice, and it's come up quite a lot now. So like, if you're listening and you're struggling right now, and there's people around you that you look up to, that inspire you, that you think you can learn from, then go over and ask. I know that can be difficult, can't it, sometimes, because you don't want to be seen as like, no one likes to feel like they're stupid or
there's
whatever.
I think there's a lot of, there can be a bit of ego in recruitment, and there can be a bit of too much pride.
Exactly.
And I think people just need to loosen up a little bit and just go to somebody who's doing really well and ask, say, look, you know, what are you doing? It's really, can I listen to you for an hour? You know, can you just tell me a few things that you're doing? And especially that works really well with us, because each recruitment consultant's got their own, even though we do the same market, everyone's got their own location and their own region. So we are a culture, and I've always created that as a culture of sharing anyway. So look, you know, if you're doing something really well, I want you to talk to somebody about it. I want you to tell somebody about it, or and vice versa. Make sure that you ask. And I think, mate, that's the way you learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
We always learn by watching and listening.
So just to help me out and the people listening, then, what's been your sort of, obviously you own half of the business for the last sort of 7 or so years, but like what? Obviously, I know that sort of your role and what you've been up to has obviously evolved. Yeah. So I guess just help me understand sort of how it's got to the point where now you're sort of heavily invested in marketing and these types of things. So talk to me about that. So it's clearly started as a biller, was obviously doing well in terms of billings.
Yeah.
Then did you start managing and building a team underneath you or whatever? Just what was the sort of journey that...
Okay, so there wasn't any kind of clear-cut career structure for me. There wasn't a competency-based framework. There wasn't something that I had to follow. Everything that I've done since becoming like a director was like I was a director as a recruitment consultant. I didn't have any clear plans in front of me of how I'm going to do it or anything along those lines of goals or anything like that. I just had to feel my way. So I took to, right, well, I'm recruiting, so I need a resourcer. I didn't even really understand what a resourcer was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I just hired somebody to do the shit job, basically.
Yeah.
So I'd get a really good candidate. Well, this is the kind of thing as well, though. I've kind of got to go back a little bit, because with when we were underneath Viridian, and they were hiring for all the banks, there was a big change that happened within the financial advice industry, and what happened was there was something called the Retail Distribution Review. But anyway, the consequences of that were that the banks had to kick out basically a lot of their financial advisors. They couldn't no longer keep these financial advisors hired, because their model for financial advice didn't suit the Retail Distribution Review.
No. Wasn't that because they can't bonus them as much anymore, or they can't actually give advice?
It was based around how you charged for financial advice, commission based or fee based.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time, so the banks couldn't really do that. So in that situation, what you had was all these financial advisors that were working for the banks were no longer working for the banks. We couldn't place them in there, so it was like, well, all we ever knew was bank assurance. They called that market bank assurance. So then we looked at what's the rest of the world out there, and it was IFAs, it was wealth management, it was all these smaller boutiques. So we kind of visioned really that RDR was going to have an impact. That was going to have a massive impact on the IFA and wealth management market. So we pulled away from Viridian, no longer wanted to use their branding or anything like that. And when I took the directorship, I said, look, if we're going to do this, we need to have our own brand.
Yeah.
So we need to take this Recruit UK from a name on a piece of paper and turn it into a bloody company.
Yeah.
And we need to start looking at the IFA and wealth management market. And that's essentially what we did. So when I did that, you had a couple of people that were still having a foot in the Viridian, making sure we're making placements over there, because that was our bread and butter. And I went off completely cold into the world of IFA, so I had to completely learn a brand new market. Self-employed advisors, employed advisors, high net worth ones, and all the different types of advisors. I had to go out there and learn it all. So that was when I kind of got into it, and when I got right into it.
How did you approach that then? Because that's probably a real common thing that people ask,
reverse marketing.
Really?
Yeah. So it was purely based on the fact that if I had a really good candidate, So let's say, for example, you go on to read back then, and there'll be a load of financial advisors that had been kicked out of the bank. So they're all jobs. So I'd take that candidate and I would go to market. So I would just take a really good candidate, pick up the phone, and I'd phone every single financial advice company that was there, and I'd sell that candidate in. A big part of what I did as well was make sure I spoke to as many candidates as possible, and I just asked them questions. But something that people I don't think do very well anymore is to learn their market through asking candidates and asking questions.
Sounds
of their
so
candidates.
simple and basic, but it's come up so much.
It's the basics.
Yeah,
it's the absolute basics of recruitment.
I think for me, part of that is like, particularly early on or whatever, like you get in the sort of, you know what you need to get out of that call, and sometimes you can like hurry to make sure you get what you need to get out of. If you get what I mean, you're thinking about, right, I need to get this out of this call, rather than, do you know what I mean? Thinking about, right, what questions can I ask to get even more information, rather than I need to tick off job titles, salary expectations, locations, travel, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
People are scared to ask a question because they don't want to sound silly.
Yeah, so true.
And it's like there is, and the thing is though, when you're phoning up, say, a financial advisor, what do they like to do? They like to talk about themselves. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I
think as well, having the humility to go, you know what, Sam, you know what you just said there. I'm not actually quite sure I understand that. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Exactly.
I guarantee you, they're not going to go, Sam, mate, you should know that.
What I say to everybody is ask a set amount of questions to every candidate you speak to, because let's say you've got 10 different candidates all working for 10 different companies. If you ask them what they like and what they dislike about the current company they're working for, because the next person you speak to who works for that company, you already know what they probably like and dislike.
Those particular nuances.
What are those systems like? Oh, well, the systems are crap, but the bonus is good, isn't it? Oh, yeah, the bonus is good. Yeah. So you're just learning as you go, aren't you? You're making a note and you're just building up an idea of your market and the companies that are good and the companies that aren't.
So did you really start mapping out your market then through candidates? You know what, Sam, actually, I've had interviews here, interviews there, blah, blah, blah.
So I started doing that. I started mapping the market and understanding what these different propositions were out there, what a self-employed one was, what an employed one was, tied, restricted, IFA, whatever it was. I really understood the market. It was just me covering the whole of the UK. So I employed somebody as a resourcer. So I'd find some good candidates. I'd give them a candidate and I'd say, right, your job today is just to phone every single company. And then we started building an email marketing database off the back of it and speccing candidates out via email as you do. And then gradually that grew. And over time, I would then hire somebody to say, right, your job is to work that location and your job's to work that location. And now we've got to this stage where I've got like 16... How
many people do you have in the business now?
So there's 16 recruiters now. We've got another 3 that we should be taking on, that are accepted and that are starting in January.
Oh, wow.
So, and we've got 3 regional teams. So we've got a team that looks after the South East and London, team that looks after the Midlands and North, and team that looks after the South West and Wales.
Why did you do it on geography out of interest? I
think it's just, for us, it was easier to manage.
Yeah.
So you did it based on geography, and you kind of can then place a certain amount of recruitment consultants within a certain patch within the UK. And it meant that we were covering the UK then as well.
You know, you were talking about there, like, obviously gradually over time and stuff. How long did that take from you going, right, there's a great opportunity here to take these financial advisors that are out of a job into a market? Because I think, again, in today's world, it's so easy to look, like, if I were to look into the window of Recruit UK now and go, bloody hell, Sam's doing all right, isn't he? Like, going to have nearly 20 people in his business. He's doing all right. But like, what was the sort of, just for like everyone's benefit, what was the timeline of you recognising that opportunity and then building it from scratch to where it actually being pretty profitable and good?
Well, we were downstairs in this little kind of fish tank window that you could literally look through our window, actually, downstairs. And it was a massive amount of trial and error. You know, as I said to you, I didn't have any handbook. I didn't have any guide. I didn't have some mentor telling me or Stuart what to do. We were basically feeling our way as we were doing it. So there was a period where it was kind of run like you'd have one foot in being a recruitment consultant and the next foot in trying to be a director and push the business forward. Yeah. Whilst trying to pay the bills. You had employees within there paying the bills of where you were. And it was all new to us, really. And it was quite tough. But we kind of assigned roles quite early on. Stu quite likes the finances side, and I quite like the idea of pushing the business forward. So that was kind of my game, really. But there was a lot of time. There was a big period where I was feeling my way, and we were running it kind of like business owners and recruiters, and it was a bit messy. There was no structure to it. So that was going for like three years. I think we've been up. So we moved upstairs from downstairs about 3 years ago, and it was half this space we've got now.
Okay.
And then last year I took over the rest of the half. I always said I'm going to have those rooms because they were Ven's meeting rooms.
Okay.
And this was another meeting room. And I was like, I'm going to take over those rooms. So I had a vision of taking over those rooms. And I ended up taking them over. And so I would say, as a business, actually running it as a business and thinking about the growth of it and
like on the business,
having the structure within it, because we played around with having different people managing and setting the business up in different ways, and we settled on the regional side of it. But it took time to get there. So it's only like the last, I would say, 3 years where it's been running properly as a machine that I know that if I bring somebody in, I can slot them in.
It's actually scalable.
And we've got competency-based framework, and we've got great bonus structures, and we've got.
So so
everything
up until
in place.
3 years ago, what's that then? Like, what we're talking 2-3 years up until the last 3 years.
Yeah, like a good couple.
I just think that's such a good thing to make sure everyone understands that, like, you're not going to have everything planned out straight away, and it doesn't happen overnight. Do you know what I mean? I think that's such an important thing to highlight that, and also the fact you're being honest around that you're working your way out. And do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? So, I'm not going to lie to you. I was shitting myself on a regular basis, and I was also resentful on a regular basis.
Why?
Because it was like, I just wanted to. Sometimes you just want to. Because I got into becoming a director. When you become a director, you then go into like a director's salary, right?
Yeah.
When you're a recruitment consultant, you're earning a load of money.
Yeah.
You know, and I was probably at that point where I would have been earning some really good money.
Yeah.
I was going on nice holidays and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, I'd moved from being a recruitment consultant, all I had to worry about was myself.
Your own billings, yeah.
Yeah, to then having to worry about building a business without any experience or anything like that. But knowing I kind of had an ego side of me that wanted to do it. I wanted to build it. And you become a little bit neggy and a bit resentful because any money that you're getting, you're having to pay into somebody else's pocket as a salary, and you don't really get it, and you're unsure. So it was hard. It was really, really, really hard during that period. And I kind of think, like, looking back on it, I would have taken some advice.
Really?
Yeah, I wish.
Did you feel like you could have gone to anyone? Like, was that even like an option?
I didn't. Yeah, I suppose it was. I could have done that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just didn't seem to compute in my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at people now, like, and you look at you guys you just gone and met.
Yeah,
you've got some other companies that I'm seeing being set up. You know, they get backed by financiers now, don't they? And all that kind of stuff. And if we're doing that probably back in the day when I was, but I just wasn't. I was quite. I would guess narrow-minded a little bit. A little bit like, I'm going to do it. I don't really want anybody else to help me.
So would your advice be then
I never took investment. We've never taken investment. We've never had investment.
But one of the pieces of advice potentially would be, Sam, seek advice.
100%.
Really?
God, yeah, because it's hard work, and and at times it can.
Because obviously, as you said, you were doing loads of things that you'd never done before.
Yeah, and everything I was doing, I was feeling out. Whereas if I think, like James Osborne in the Recruitment Network, right? If we would have done something like that earlier, I think we would have had a game plan.
Yeah.
So I would have got my game plan a lot earlier and stuck to a game plan a lot earlier, because there are people out there who've done this job, tried and tested it, and forged a good path, whereas I was just forging my own path.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't really listening to anybody else. I was just forging my own path. And I don't think it was out of arrogance. I think it was because I was just super, super busy. And also you're kind of thinking, oh my God, how much is it going to cost? And you're always trying to keep costs low and all that stuff. And
so what were some of the key learnings, do you think, then, during that period, if you were to, again, think back before you got to the point where you're really focused on the business, had structure in place? Like, what are some of the key learnings, do you think, that people can...
Communication is key.
With who? People internally, or just...
With your business partner.
Really?
Make sure that you both know what each person's responsibility is. I think looking back on that, it was quite loose. We were quite loose people in the sense of what we were trying to hope to gain from it. Neither of us really communicated that properly.
That's interesting.
So I would definitely say make sure you
did that then filter
well.
into then like the consultants and stuff, if you and Stuart weren't completely on the same page?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I suspect that probably might well have happened. Over time, you become more attuned to each other and what each person is responsible for. Because again, when you're a small little business, and when you're the one, let's say for example, someone's looking after the financial side of the business, and in your head, you're looking after the growth of the business.
Yeah.
They're two very separate roles.
Yeah.
One's a sales role, one's like a keeping the ship together.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a massive fan of the management side of it. I really struggle with managing people.
Really?
Because I'm too direct and people get a bit,
How long did it take to realise that, do you think?
Scrap that, right? I'm not a bad manager.
Okay.
I'm just very honest and I'm very direct. And
yeah, but as you said, some people don't like that.
some
people.
I think some people don't like it because I think some people these days getting into recruitment are ultra sensitive. And I think it's not the kind of job it used to be. Like I think I think you can be a lot. You have to be very careful how you speak to people nowadays.
Yeah.
And
I got what you mean. I totally get what you mean. I guess
some people don't like to be told that they're doing something wrong. They get a little bit neggy about it. Whereas I'm quite capable of sitting down with somebody. If someone's not doing well, my strength is I will sit down with them and I will tear apart their desk. And I do it in a consultative way, but I'm not very sensitive to somebody's emotions around it.
Yeah.
So that's
You
why
can see why that has positive.
100%. Because if someone does that to me, I'm like, fuck off. What are you talking to me?
Mate, if you give it, mate, you got to be able to take it, mate.
Yeah.
So obviously you were talking. And then talking about learnings, communication, challenge. So you through that process, you worked out that you wasn't obviously your management style didn't obviously click with everyone.
No, not with everyone. No, definitely not.
So what were some of the other challenges through that period worth thinking about or talking about that you think people could benefit from?
How you manage your personal stress and your health and well-being. Because are we talking from a recruitment, becoming a recruiter, or becoming a director of a business, or both?
You.
Yeah.
If that's what you challenge, that other people are going to be experiencing that. If you experience that,
I think recruitment as a whole is a very tough job.
Yeah.
Mentally a tough job. And your podcast is called The Recruitment Rollercoaster. You are literally up and down on a daily basis. Yeah. And I think if you are struggling perhaps with your if you are struggling with your mental health during those periods, or health in general, it can be a really real drain on you, basically, your energy levels and everything like that. So my advice to anybody within recruitment or getting into it is and basically when I was a bit like it, is just look after yourself, look after your health, look after your well-being. I nowadays, back then I would just, if I had a good day, I'd get smashed. If I had a bad day, I'd get smashed. The weekend would come, I was just always getting on it, basically.
Always getting drinking.
And then when you know what that's like, you're up and down with that, you get hangovers and all that, and they merge all together. And when you're doing a stressful job, it then becomes even worse because like the lows are low and the highs are high, aren't they? So these days I do a lot more like, I don't drink alcohol or anything like that. I'm a complete teetotaler.
Really?
Yeah, complete.
How long?
The last 7 and a bit months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's taken a long time for me to get there, but I'm a complete teetotaler now. But the difference to how I am now in this job, it doesn't have such a negative effect on me if I get stressed out. I'm a bit calm. I'm a lot calmer. I look at things outside of work like yoga, and I was meditating before you turned up. So meditation I do. I love my running. I love exercise and all that type of stuff. So I think
how has that then benefited you, and as a recruitment director,
calmer.
Yeah,
you make decisions without being so rash with your decisions. So you think about things more. You're a bit more patient. You're more patient with people around you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the stresses and the strains of running a company and building a business don't overtake your life, and that you can just place it as part of your life, and then it doesn't invade my personal space, my wife, my kid. Whereas before it was just like eating into every avenue of my life. Like,
really?
Yeah, God, yeah. You worry about
it impacted
stuff.
Your personal relationship.
Everything, every relationship I've had, it's impacted.
Really?
Oh God, yeah, massively. It was always.
Did you find it hard to leave work at the door then when you left?
Yeah. So, picking up the phone when you're at home, thinking about it when you go to bed, thinking about it at the weekend, it can really, really play on you. And that's why I think you should really work on your personal, yourself, your personal well-being, your mindset, how you cope with your problems, like, not letting things build up. Yeah. Communication.
It's communication, isn't it?
100%, because I think, again, there's a lot of pride and there's a lot of ego in recruitment, and I've been subject to that. I didn't want someone to know that I was struggling or anything along those lines, but now I talk to people, I let them know, like I have a really good relationship with Stuart where we open up to each other and make sure that we know where we are. It's so
important. I think it's, again, I couldn't agree with you more. This is something I'm super passionate about. I think, obviously, look, I'm obviously not as much. Obviously, you've been in the journey longer than me, but last 5 months doing my own thing, it's just me. I was someone that was always quite health conscious. Always made the time to go to the gym, eat as well as I could, but always 100%, 30%, ended up getting pierced and all that, standard. But definitely what I've experienced in the last 4 or 5 months is it definitely has been more challenging to, again, it could be excuses, but it's definitely been more challenging to have that balance of making time for me and investing in myself. Yeah, like definitely, I've definitely slacked on gym, these types of things, and I think you can very much put all your eggs in the business basket when it's your own thing.
It's managing your expectations as well, because you're an ambitious person, Hashem. I watched some of your videos and I see what you're about, and you're at Hoxo.
Yeah.
And I think when you put yourself out there in the limelight on LinkedIn as well, you almost become a bit of a mini celebrity. So an expectation on yourself and a pressure upon yourself to deliver.
Yeah.
And I think we all actually have that. And it's like, are we being fair to ourselves?
So true.
Are we giving ourselves enough time to recover from those ups and all that kind of stuff? And I think, I think it's just make sure you give yourself plenty of time.
I think that's definitely one thing I realised. It's that, well, actually, big part of the reason why I wanted to start my own business was to have more flexibility in my life and these types of things. And that means that for me, to have more weeks where the weeks the type of weeks that I want, rather than to cater to my clients, right, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think I think again, you have to be honest with this stuff. Like I did a post recently about, like you obviously you will experience this in your life, but obviously with you having your own business, a very easy small talk question is, Sam, how's business? Like you get that like 10 times more when you don't work for someone. Obviously the typical small chat is, Sam, how's work, mate? But when it's your own business, like, Sam, how's business? How's it going? Is it going well? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously I've really experienced that. And like, there's obviously some people that do ask you that question. For me, there's some people that, like, even if I was struggling and it was a really tough time, there would be people that ask me that question that I wouldn't want to have a conversation with them around that is struggling.
Yeah.
So there's part of that you just want to bat it off and go, yeah, it's great. But there's also a big part in today's world where you don't want to talk about like the bad times, which is why I shared in my post, like, it's just so important to me to be honest, which is why one of the things that I shared was one of the big challenges I've had is, like, for me, because it's on my own, you don't have anyone to celebrate wins with, and that's been a challenge which I've been used to.
Yeah.
So I think I'm glad you're sharing that, because it's so important to be honest, and also, with this sort of stuff.
It can be very lonely, even if you've got a team of people, because you don't want to tell your employees you're having a hard time.
Exactly.
You want to be seen as being that guy who's all like on it and leading by example and all those types of things. So you hold a lot of that sort of stuff in, even when you've got a team of people around you. When you're on your own, I can imagine it's even more difficult.
Yeah,
because then you're just bending your missus's ear or your partner's ear.
But and that's probably my final point, sort of, on this around what you're talking about and sharing, is that, again, it comes down to communication. That's something that I've had to really work on in my own relationship. The sort of, the girlfriend I have is someone that I want to be with the rest of my life. And for me, what I've had to really be clear with, which I wasn't so good with previously, was communicating. So look, sometimes I may have to stay a bit later or whatever, but that's because this is what I'm trying to build for us and all that. And actually, before, I was very prone to just like, leave me alone, like I'm working, like I need to crack on, rather than communicating why I'm doing this, why I'm putting all this effort into it, because I'm communicating that this is for us, and it's like, you can very easily not communicate that, like you were saying, that you probably just take those phone calls. Look, I need to do it. I need to do this, but you need to communicate why you're doing it, and with your partner as well. That's what I've found. When
you're under a load of pressure and stress.
Do you know what I mean? You need to communicate what you're doing this for. Because a lot of the time, you sometimes think just people understand why you're doing it. Look, I own half of this business. Like, I need to do this.
So why are you doing it? I need to be asking the questions for you now, but why are you doing it? What's your
for me?
Yeah.
Honestly,
because sometimes I ask that question to myself. Sometimes it's different every time.
You know what? I think, have I got a complete, concrete answer to that? Probably not.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I've followed my gut instinct, and where my gut instinct has always sort of led me to is what I've become really passionate about, just through the journey I've been on, is helping others. I know it sounds proper cliche.
I like it.
But that's what's probably always driven me. And I found myself in a position where sort of what I've ended up doing for myself and what I've learned along the way, I can actually help a lot of people. And I think that's just what really gets me going. And then it's that. So just that's sort of always driven me, really. If I think about what I do now and going into businesses and meeting people, and this podcast has definitely enabled that as well. I think that's when I feel my most alive and sort of really buzz off that. And that's what's driven. That's the drive, really. So
your drive is to help other people, and I think now at the moment is a perfect time to become that teacher. I think anybody out there who's decent at their job are becoming those influencers. They call them an influencer, don't they? Or they become a teacher, and it's about educating your clients, candidates around how to do things better and how I can help you do these things better. And I found that myself by doing this digital recruitment solutions side of our business, and about when I go into these companies and I understand the struggles that they're experiencing in respect of hiring, say, financial planners in a market that which is very, where advisors just aren't moving and there aren't that many of them. And I'm educating them and telling them about the struggles we come up against as one of the largest financial planning recruiters in the UK. They start to listen a little bit, you know, and I start to tell them a little bit about the struggles, what we, you know, how we do things, what we should, you know, what we're doing, and how marketing impacts that. And you know, trying to educate them that you don't stand out. You know, you don't stand out in the marketplace.
Because that's always, when I go into businesses, that's always one of the key challenges that in all sectors and markets is that the client will come to you as a recruiter and go, look, Sam, I need you to headhunt, or I need you to get the best person, the next superstar out of our competitors. Okay, Sam, tell me about sort of what you offer, more than the salary and these types of things. And you go, well, we offer 20 days holiday, all the normal stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, well, guess what, Sam? Your competitor offers that too. Yeah. What's your differentiator and these types of things? You know what I mean? So that's such a common challenge. That'll be across all sectors. Yeah. And again, recruiters will be having those conversations on a daily basis. So let's just talk a bit about that then. So obviously, the last 3 years, you've obviously now had the opportunity to really focus on the business. Yeah. And you've got to a position where you're playing to your strengths, which has been, as we're talking about, being a bit of a journey as to get to that point.
I've always had a fondness for marketing, and looking at ways to combine marketing with recruitment for my clients. And the massive thing that I've noticed is clients are willing to pay a lot of money for contingency-based fees. Yeah,
because they only pay when they get the
result.
Product.
Yeah, but they're like, when times are hard, they're like, well, why aren't you finding me anybody? And it's like, well, and again, it goes back to that point where you're not really standing out. You're just another company out there in the noise. And there's a huge amount of noise out there of unbranded job adverts. You know, I'm representing a wealth management firm, and you know, they're not thinking about the long-term impact that their brand around recruitment is or isn't having. So what I've done over the last 9 months is that I've immersed myself in becoming a digital marketer. So I've taught myself everything about digital marketing, to be able, in the very, very beginning, was to be able just to get Recruit UK brand out there and to try to generate some inbound leads. So I started creating inbound recruitment strategies using HubSpot, landing pages, you know, Google AdWords, sponsoring adverts on Facebook and all that type of stuff. And when I started doing that and I started to get some results, it was like, well, how can I now do this for my clients?
And how long was that period? Because I think this is clearly something that everyone's talking about. It's the work that I'm in. Yeah. Let's just make that crystal clear, because that's always the conversation around this, isn't it? And that's the conversation I always had with people like you is, look, Sam, this is a long-term investment. It's like building a recruitment business. Brand, it does take time, of course, but let's just make that crystal clear. From your experience, from deciding that we need to get the Recruit UK brand out there, marketing is important, we need to get that right, what was that period of where you went, you know what, we're actually getting some good results here, and now how can I do this for my clients? How long was that period, do you think?
Really quick.
Really?
Yeah.
How long?
So like 3 months.
Really?
So I went...
Not bad that, is it? 90 days?
Yeah, so I went from like whacking, you know, I went from looking at what we can do for us as a company, get our brand out there, got the process in place for that, but I used an external marketing agency to manage it for me. I didn't do all of that. And then once I did that, I then saw the opportunity to be able to say to my clients, a couple of clients that were struggling to find candidates, that why don't we take your brand, use your brand, but sell it through my channel, you know, essentially, you know? So if we're getting 10,000 hits a month on our website, right? Let's look at what you're getting. Oh, you're getting 6,000 hits every 6 months. Yeah. And we're doing all this work on SEO to drive financial advisors to us. Let's start marketing your brand to my followers, essentially, to my website.
You build leverage.
Build leverage, exactly that. So at that point, it was kind of like, well, I just sort of casually mention, a couple of guys who've gone out to see some clients and casually mentioned, this is what we're doing. Would you be interested? And then when I went along to some meetings with some of the clients of ours and started saying, right, look, what we'll do is we create some blogs for you. And those blogs will be branded. So we'll be talking about something interesting within the financial advice industry, but we'll put your name in there and we'll sort of feature you and all that kind of stuff. So we started doing that. And then it was like, well, then we'll create a landing page on our website that's all branded up. So anything that someone reads and then wants to click through, they'll land on there and watch a video of you.
Yeah.
There'll be a download on there. So we started creating downloads. Then I thought, well, I'll just create a package. So you get this, you get that, you get, this is all you get, and this is how much I'm going to charge you on a monthly basis. And at that point, I thought, if I'm going to work with these types of companies that are struggling as hell to find candidates, they're going to need to pay me, because I'm giving so much of my energy trying to help them build a business, but I'm only getting paid on a contingency basis.
No way.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And recruitment is without a doubt changing. I think if you're going to, contingency-based recruitment will always be there. Contract-based recruitment will always be there. But there's this little bit in between now, which is this, what I call digital recruitment solutions, which is charge your clients a fee per month to be able to advertise their brand to your following that you spent loads of money on generating and loads of money on building and, and creating a huge audience. Their advert, for example, or their blog article that we're going to write, that's going to be really interesting for the audience to read, that will hopefully get a load of readers on there that might click through to their website or whatever. That's cost me a shitload of money to generate that audience. And it might go out to like 85,000 first connections on an organic basis.
Totally.
Or I might stick £1,000 on it to advertise it on Facebook or whatever, and do some target marketing.
And how has that been received in your market then?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of. So this is the cool thing, really, right? Yeah. So, I'm charging them on a monthly basis on a 12-month contract. Yeah. So they have to do 12 months.
Recurring revenue when before it was just contingent.
Exactly.
Not bad,
and then also on top of that, I get full fees. So, you bring on a couple of clients and you're earning well over £100,000 just off of the recurring income. Then you've got
and
the
then
fees
you
on
obviously
top of that. Yeah.
And then obviously also what you're doing there is obviously the problem that where this all came from is that they can't stand out. They obviously you have the attention and these types of things, which is what they don't have.
Use your audience, basically.
Yeah, use your audience. But obviously, the problem you're solving is that piece where it's like, okay, so I've got 5 financial wealth companies or whatever, and they're all the same. Like, what makes it different?
Stand out?
Exactly. So
the problem that I have and encounter is they want results a hell of a lot quicker. Yeah. And I'm like, look, it takes time we're sort of building a relationship with you guys and our audience. So we've got to build that. So
how have you managed the expectations?
Each month I do a review with them. I go over what the performance of that article or download is and what we've generated, and we look over the interviews that we've generated with them. I talk to them about what we're going to do next month and all that kind of stuff. And what I found is that as I'm going through each month, because I'm generating content that is out there in Google, for example, and ranking in Google, and some of them rank on page 1 of Google, every month they're getting more views. So like on month 1, they might be only got 500 views, but if they're on month 6, all of a sudden they're getting like 4,000 views of content with their name on it. I
guess the thing
they're starting to see more direct. They see more direct applications, which does me an injustice. I don't get it.
However, that's a huge value add.
But I just, if I can add, and this is the thing, if I can just add the the recruitment marketing services for them, and it costs this much money, and if they get things on a direct basis, I'm kind of okay with that, because I'm still making money out of it. Yeah, cool. That I wouldn't have made anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're adding an actual real value to that business. Yeah. So you're building a real asset.
Yeah. If you had 10 clients all taking out digital recruitment solutions, I'd be like an $800,000 a year biller. Yeah. So happy days.
It's interesting that
it works. It works.
I guess for you as well. Obviously that came from you.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want my competitors. So I'm being.
Yeah, but the thing is, mate. Look, you could talk about that. You could share all your secrets. How many people are actually going to take action and do it?
And it's all. And again, it's about understanding that you have a niche market and just working that niche market. There's nobody in my niche market in recruitment doing what I'm doing, and everybody in recruitment is working in their own little niche, aren't they?
Exactly.
And also from a digital recruitment perspective, so let's say I'm looking at hiring into this. This is what I'm going to be doing next year. If I want to all of a sudden do a cybersecurity desk, and there's a guy in around the corner who's billing 200 grand a year doing cybersecurity on a contingency basis. I'll turn around to him and say, come and join me, and I'll wrap digital marketing recruitment solutions around you and your desk. How many clients of yours will buy it? Well, I reckon probably four people would be interested. Well, that's 250 grand of income straight away. And you can still make contingency-based fees on top of it with them. Would that be of interest to you? And all of a sudden, it's like, well, no one's speaking to me about this. If I'm going to a recruitment company, I'm getting interviewed.
Point and different.
No one's speaking about what they're doing on a marketing perspective.
I think you speak to, obviously, like I sit down and have these conversations. You speak to anyone around the future of recruitment, future-proof your business, these types of things. And a big part of that, a section of that definitely is providing real solutions that isn't pay for each person that we place and each bum on seat. Do you know what I mean? And that's where that stemmed from. It's like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, and you're managing the expectations of these clients. Going back to that, you can't make guarantees. It's not like an RPO or something like that. It's not an RPO. It sounds like it almost, but it's not. You've got to turn around to them and say, like, I can't guarantee placements into your business. What I can give you is some feedback on how many people are seeing your brand over what you're doing on your own recruitment page. So I logged into one of my clients' pages, and they had like, I had more views of content in a month than they had all year. So it's kind of like you're getting value here. The content that's going out there. We phone somebody out, speak to them about that client. Oh yeah, I've seen some of that stuff. I've seen the articles. It's really good. They get more direct applicants. There's more things for them to talk about. And it's better content for us to share through the other recruitment consultants as well, because we do that. We share it across the whole network.
Because like how is all of this, just to sort of finalise this? How is that? How has that enabled your recruiters to work? Like, has that impacted sort of what your recruiters do with these businesses? Has it been easier for them to recruit for them, or do you know what I mean? Has it enabled them to get more traction on the consultants that have been working on these accounts?
Yeah, it's how you use the content. So if you create a little bit of content and you go out and send a message let's say, I've got a self-employed proposition in central London, or another one. Instead it's like, hey Chris, how are you doing? Look, I've got a recent article about how to attract high net worth individuals. It's a really good document put together. I don't know if you want to have a quick look at it. So if they click on it and go, oh, brilliant, and they land on there and they start seeing some stuff about Foster's De Novo on there. It's just it's a different type of angle and a different type of conversation piece.
So you're using all the sort of digital assets that you're creating to engage with candidates. And that's what it's about. 100% that is what it's about.
Use that content. And in the last 2 weeks, I've decided to just be a social seller myself, just to see how good having content is to be able to draw somebody in.
Good, mate.
I put out, it's amazing. Like, I just go onto someone's, women in financial advice, right? I find all the women that were in financial advice, and I'll put an article on there around something that's relevant towards them. And they'll click on the article and they'll send me a message because I'm asking them to feature on a blog that I'm going to do next year around females in financial advice. And then bang, you got a conversation piece, because you're talking about something that isn't, I've got a job. You're talking about something of interest to them. And I got a lot of inbound leads from it. And you send a message via LinkedIn Recruiter, send some content, send something of interest to them.
So that's my whole thing with it. And obviously this is what I do for a living now, and that's my whole thing of it. Obviously the whole goal with doing more on LinkedIn and sharing your opinion is obviously we want to drive more people coming to you, because I can see Sam, wow, he knows what he's talking about. However, a huge thing for me, which is what I do for myself and what I used to do in my previous job, was use the people that are engaged in the content and these types of things to actually drive sales conversations. So if I put a post out there around women in financial advice, and Susie comments on it saying, Sam, this is really interesting, like, thanks for sharing. Well, guess what? If I have Susie's number and I call her and say, hi Susie, thanks for engaging my content, you might have seen I'm trying to do more on LinkedIn. By the way, do you know what we do here at Recruit UK? And you can also do that in a message, and I guarantee you that's going to drive results, and it's going to enable you to have more of an opportunity to go, hi Susie, this is why we're different. Because that's what a lot of recruiters need these days, because at the end of the day,
something to make them stand out.
Yeah, something that makes them stand out, but just recruiters need more of that opportunity to go, this is why we're different. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a candidate or client, right now, they probably have the perception they know what you're doing, who you are, and you're not any different.
Everybody I'm talking to about this recruitment solutions, even if they can't afford it, and I'm going to make it affordable for everyone next year, it's going to be affordable for everybody. Even if they think, oh, it's a bit risky that, they're all interested. They all just think they can all see the benefit in it. They can all see the benefit of branded advertising on a regular basis with good, strong content that's going to drive traffic to them. They just, it's.
Do you think a big part of this that's helped you get to this point is that you didn't come from a typical recruitment background?
Don't know. I guess so, maybe. But then again, sometimes I think that might have been a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, of course.
Because I must admit, I'd like to have been part of the team, like, recruitment team, and, do you know what I mean? Being a bit of a lad around recruitment. Although I think I would there's a lot of recruitment consultants I hang around with that are a lot younger. And, I look at what they're up to in their business, and it's great. And I didn't really have that.
Yeah.
I've just been full nuts into running a business. I didn't have that little bit in between. So I kind of like a little bit like, it would have been really, really nice. But at the same time, I just haven't really ever stop trying to evolve.
Yeah. So just a quick one. That'll be like, I'm sure you've seen the stats out there, but there's loads of stats out there to back up the majority of the UK recruitment market is sort of sub 10 staff. You're more than that.
Say that again, sub 10.
Yeah, so like there's loads of stats out there. I mean, there's loads of stats out there around sort of 70 or 80% of the UK recruitment market employ under 10 staff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what's been, because I think, again, people listening, I think the sort of value that you can add and experience you've been in, what's been your journey in hiring people for your business? What's that been like, and what are some of the sort of learnings around that? Because I think that's always a huge challenge for a lot of people.
Trial and error, isn't it? I don't think there's any magic formula for hiring big billers or the right people.
But what are some of the sort of key, I guess, the during this period of building this business, like what are the sort of non-negotiables in terms of hiring people for your business that
we're finding now that we're focusing more? We didn't focus on the grad market.
Oh, really?
So it's only now that we're starting to focus on graduates.
Okay.
So
and why is that, out of interest?
Why didn't we?
No, that's what. How come you're going spend a bit more time more thinking about?
Because we've hired a few grads, and we quite like their attitudes.
Okay.
And we like the fact that they don't know anything about the industry, and they haven't been tainted by another company or worked in sales or anything like that. So you can kind of mold them to how you want them to be.
Yeah.
But also they have a kind of drive, I think, when they leave university, well, some do, not everybody, to want to earn money. And there's a natural competitiveness to outperform friends who've got other jobs and everything.
Yeah.
But also there's a bit of debt there as well. And they want to prove to people, oh shit, I've been to uni, it's all finished now. I need to go and get some money. I need to earn some money. Mum and dad need to be proud of me. So there's an element of that there. And I just think they do, I don't know. And that's not putting anybody else in, because I wasn't a grad. I left school at 16. So it's like,
that's just been your recent experience. What's worked over the?
I think we do. We're seeing more grads, and we're using a rec-to-rec agency, whereas we didn't do that before. So when you didn't have a great deal of time, and someone walked through your door, you take a punt on somebody, because you're thinking, I don't really want to have to do all this again and spend all this time and energy in recruiting whilst I'm trying to build a business at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. Culture.
Such a big topic.
Is it?
But I mean, it's a topic that, if you own a business,
the culture of the business.
Culture, I think it's always an interesting one. It's obviously there's such a vast topic, but clearly an important one. There's so many recruitment businesses out there. Like, do you think you have a unique culture?
I think we do. Sometimes I think it's a little bit too laid back. We've always allowed people to pretty much work their way that they want to work, and we haven't ever been that start work at 7, finish at 7:30, 8 o'clock type mentality, and we've been quite loose around that.
Yeah.
Because I think as well, me and Stuart quite like our lives to outside of work, so we want other people to experience that as well. But you want those people to work really hard within that shorter period of time.
Of course.
So that's kind of like that looseness and allowing people to be themselves. But at the same time, people kind of don't need that. People need a little bit of structure within the culture. How
long do you think it's taken you to sort of build the sort of Recruit UK
culture?
Yeah.
It's always kind of, I think it's always evolving.
For sure.
It's always evolving. It's always changing.
Because is it just a constant process of you working out what makes someone, what you think someone would...
Because again, you want to be liked.
Yeah.
So you want people to come and work for you. So you talk about things that you think that they want. Like so you're thinking like flexible working hours, mobile phones.
Netflix.
Yeah, got bloody. If you've got mental health problems or anything like that, we've got a counsellor you can phone. And we've always been like that, and we are a company that's open, honest, fair. We don't create this horrible competitiveness in here. We don't have a beer culture, drug culture, anything like that. We try not to create that kind of classic wide boy type recruitment agency. We're not into that, and we never really have been. Not to say we're not have a laugh and go out and have a good crack, because a lot of people in here do, but we just don't encourage it. We don't have a bar in here or anything like that.
That might make you stand out though, mate.
Would it?
Maybe.
No. I like people to, it's like, okay, right, so recruitment's pretty stressful. Yeah. Do you want some time to go to the gym at lunch? Well, yeah, I'd love that. Or maybe go to yoga. Yeah, I love that. Then we do that. Now,
totally.
you make your time up at the end of the day. It's your responsibility, and you've still got to make some billings, because at the end of the day, if you don't make any billings, you haven't got a job. That's the reality of it, isn't it?
What do you think, mate? What do you think are some of the key things that sort of attribute to making a great recruiter in today's world, mate? Obviously, a lot of things have changed and will continue to change in your time in sort of the recruitment world. What makes what right do you think some of the best recruiters in your business do? Or
I think it's about going back to basics. So I know it's pretty cliche. Maybe you might have heard it a few times, but to make it right now, you got to do what other people aren't doing. And what people aren't doing right now is the basics that people did 10 years ago, which is pick up that telephone, go out and meet people on a face-to-face basis, build relationships, stop looking at what others are doing and start doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Don't hide behind LinkedIn. Don't hide behind email. Don't hide behind WhatsApp. These are all incredible tools that can aid and help you, but they will absolutely rinse your time. Nothing is more effective, I believe, than having a good conversation with somebody.
Totally.
Having a good chat with somebody. So it's about
agree more.
If you were get into recruitment, just make yourself do the most uncomfortable thing, which is pick that phone up and speak to people, ask people questions like we were saying earlier. Really build that relationships with your audience, understand what people are talking about, because people are far more honest over a telephone call with you or a face-to-face with you than they would be sending a little message or whatever. It's all so quick and so short at the moment. It absolutely works. Brilliant. You can get hold of somebody via WhatsApp or whatever. But I think, you need to make it right now, just do what other people aren't doing. And I think 80% of people are just sitting
it's just so easy to hide behind an email now.
Hide behind an email, absolutely. And I think go back to those basics and sales, learn some goddamn sales, understand how to ask open questions, closed questions, and features and benefits, all the things that you can forget a little bit. Marketing and everything like that is massively important in this day and age. Absolutely, you need to have a good, strong presence out there. So absolutely look at what your competitors are doing and try to stand out. So again, like what you do, I think is great. Like, don't be afraid to get yourself on video and put some content out there.
But I think it's come back to your initial point. It's that, though, I think, aided with all the things that you can do in today's world. I think if you really combine both, but I think you'll absolutely nail it.
You can procrastinate really easy in recruitment. It's because there's so much. It's not as simple. It's not like, sometimes you kind of want someone to give you a list of 100 names and say, make 100 phone calls. I mean, like, that's so simple, but I guarantee you at the end of that 100 calls you make, you've got some business.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people are scared to do that now because, I've sent 1,000 messages on emails, and it's like, like every other Tom, Dick and Harry has,
So look, before we finish, mate, Recruit UK, where's this going, mate?
Where's it going?
Yeah, where would you like to see the business in the next couple of years, or what do you see? What do you see on the horizon in this recruitment world?
In respect of Recruit UK, where I see us going is we're growing. So we are hiring and we're growing next year. So we're aiming to take on sort of 15 people next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's enough.
Get to 20 to 30 heads?
Yeah. So there's enough business for us to really dominate our niche.
Wow.
Continue on with the digital marketing to support it, to get our brand out there as much as we possibly can, and start to really work with clients closer on their digital recruitment solutions. So that's where
it's a big play for you guys,
big play
and
for
just
us.
what you see, digital recruitment solutions.
And continue to be niche. There's so much business for us to go after. We don't need to go anywhere else. So we just need to dominate. We just need to dominate our niche, and stick to that, and not be sort of skewed by perhaps a little bit something a bit shiny somewhere else. Just have the confidence that just build a really good recruitment company in that market and be known as the go-to experts.
Yeah. And what do you think people should be thinking about in 2020 and beyond in the recruitment? Yeah, what do you think people should be thinking about from a recruitment perspective going into next year and beyond?
What they should be thinking about, individual recruiters?
Yeah.
They should be thinking about what motivates them.
Nice.
What motivates them. So, and align what motivates you, align your goals, basically. So whatever your financial goals are, whatever your personal goals are, align yourself to it and be true and stick to it. And that's what I think they should be thinking about. And they should be thinking about, like I said before, just going back to basics. How many more people can I speak to? Should I get in front? Because people are like, you don't have to go and meet people anymore face to face. But every time I do, I have a great time.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot.
Totally.
So go back to basics, basically, in 2020, because there's a lot of dipsticks out there doing a real. It's a simple job. It's a simple job, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a simple job, complicated by idiots, really.
So look, last question. I think you just touched on it there. But
What the idiots. Sorry.
What are you excited about, mate?
What am I excited about?
Yeah. What are you excited about?
I'm personally, for recruitment?
Whatever, yeah. Just what are you excited about?
What am I excited about? I'm really excited about Christmas right now.
Nice.
Yeah, and spending it with my daughter, spending it with my wife, having complete and utter clarity around it, enjoying a Christmas without getting pissed up and off my head or anything like that, and really being close to my family. I'm going to my brother's. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm incredibly grateful for everything that I have right now, and I'm very well connected, if you like, to that positive energy.
It's amazing.
And I've had a really, really good final part of this year, and next year I'm so blessed, if you like, and happy to move into that to that new year in a real
with that mindset.
Positive mindset that I've worked really, really hard to achieve. And from a business perspective, I just want to get a load of good guys in here. I want to get a lot of motivation. Or girls, yeah. Anybody, I just want to get guys and girls in here who are happy, motivated, want to make money, make sure that we can embed that digital marketing solutions into some more companies and establish ourselves as being the number one financial planning recruitment company in the UK.
It's exciting, mate.
Yeah.
Sam, it's been a pleasure.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.